My next one is Deafheaven with Granite State. And for this one, they fully leaned into their shoegaze side of their aesthetic as opposed to their black metal side. And that's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot of notes for this one. Just it's a relaxing listen. Yeah, I keep getting tongue tied. Dude, it's a relaxing listen. Yeah, just very shoegazy. Yeah, I liked it.
Really smoke my weed riffs.
Yeah.
Like, what does this button do now?
Yeah, that's all I got for it. Yeah, some of them I have like, I'm going to go on and on about, and others I'm just like, it was cool. My next one, a deviation from metal. I love Chvrches. The electro pop group.
Okay.
Yeah,
Chvrches.
I completely, unabashedly, unironically, I completely love them.
I literally was like, why the hell do you like church? But then I immediately saw the V in my head. I was like, oh, Chvrches.
Yeah. Okay. They released an album called Screen Violence in 2021, and I was pretty pumped for it because like the imagery and the song titles that came out, the whole aesthetic of it is kind of like 80s like horror movie, like horror movies and stuff like that. And so I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, are they going to kind of like, and like maybe this is like naive of me to have this critique, but like I thought maybe they might like sort of change their sound to it, maybe do some like add some like dark ambience or like a little, not horrorcore, but like I don't know, sort of like, I mean, this is an extreme example, but like Clipping, they release those like Halloween albums and they're like so dark and like spooky and scary. But I don't know what I was expecting. It's their standard electro pop affair. So I still loved it. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought maybe they might like do a slightly like darker sound or something, but yeah, super catchy. I loved it. Yeah, they had songs about like gaslighting.
Oh, no way.
Expected cultural standards for women, toxic relationships. Gotcha. So, you know, modern day horrors in its own way.
Gotcha. My turn?
So my next one is, I wish I could have, you know, given this album flowers in the previous year. Cause now given the current state of affairs, this guy's turned into such a shitlord. But Kanye West right now we're being canceled as I speak.
The camera just like shut down.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, separate the art from the artist. He released Donda in 2021, and I gotta give flowers to the album. I really loved the album. You know, I have been a fan of his. I did have to do like a kind of choose your own adventure with the album though, because it's really bloated. It's like 24 songs, and I only liked half of it. So what I did is I made a playlist of the songs I liked, and like that's the album for me. Gotcha. Like I don't actually listen to it its entirety. I listen to just like the songs I like, and it kind of flows together nicely.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's too bloated, but
you know, a lot of mainstream records are like that, where like they'd have like a few good songs, but then the rest would just kind of be like filler.
Every once in a while, yeah, this is like a pop tangent. Every once in a while I go, you know what? I hear Lady Gaga and Maroon 5, I don't know, just anyone on the radio, and I hear
Can't forget Hoobastank.
Yeah, I hear, The Reason was one of my first albums. That and The Fallen by Evanescence. I got those at the same time.
No way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's certain artists where it's like I hear their singles and I go, I got to check out a whole album. I got to see what this is about. And there are a couple artists, kind of like we mentioned with The Weeknd, where I'm pleasantly surprised, where I'm like, all right, this is like solid. This is an actual album. But there are others like Lady Gaga's latest. I think it's called like Chromatica. Truly, like all the effort went into like the two singles, and everything else, it was so unbelievably forgettable. And there are some albums that are just completely like that, where it's just like they just bank on you buying it for the singles, and the rest is just like filler.
It is just filler.
Or nowadays with like streaming stuff, it's like they just kind of throw out, you know, these shorter songs, and they try to just have that one good hook, like that little 20 to 30 second hook, just so that it can be like meme-ified or like, you know, made into like a viral TikTok sound or something.
What? Oh my God. Oh yeah. I mean, like, yeah, you just got, I have no comment to be. I'm just making sounds.
But yeah, and just the last thing I'll say, get off, the whole Ye thing. But yeah, the album, it was a cool mix of his previous production styles and also with this kind of newer gospel thing he's gone on. He's like hired and curated this like
Gospel
Christian gospel group, and so it was integrated nicely, just like just like gospel music and also his like modern hip hop and trap production. So yeah, good stuff. The poor man is going insane. Someone help him.
Oh my god, like I don't know, I'm gonna get a lot of clap back for this, but like when I was listening to the Joe Rogan episode of him and Kanye, like at the time I actually had a different perspective on Kanye. I like hearing that interview with Kanye brought a different light to me. I had no idea he was just doing so much, like providing for the children. I wouldn't even say provide, but like providing education, like, and like, I guess even like teaching kids how to grow their own food, and then like showing them how like shit actually works. And I was actually really surprised. I was like, I had no idea Kanye was like a human being like that. Like I had no idea he was just giving back. But now it's just like he's all trash. It's insane.
Well, talking about like the art and the artist, like it's even way before all this stuff. I think back around the time maybe of like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, was getting all this acclaim, and like rightfully so. Like I love that album, but like I don't remember when I started finally listening to him, but I avoided him for the longest time because he was always this like controversial figure. And I'm like, oh, he's a narcissist. He's annoying. Like, how could his music pop? Like, how could his music be so good that these people are just like riding any wave with him forever? And then finally I checked it out, and I was so disarmed by how just like raw and genuine he, like the way he just like opens up his heart and just like presents it to you. I was like, I thought this dude was like, I mean, this guy,
nutcase.
Yeah, I thought this guy was like a nut. Like, how is he just like ripping himself? I don't know. I was very surprised by that. And so yeah, still like his music. But yeah,
honestly, like College Dropout was still like one of my favorite albums. Like such a good album.
Okay, so yeah, I know this one's going to be a mutual one. Glow On by Turnstile.
Oh my god, yeah. Why wasn't that on my list? Dude, when we saw Turnstile multiple different times.
We both saw them
times.
Separately.
Yeah.
I saw him at Firefly. You saw him like a week before.
Yeah, and at a 930 Club in DC. No, Baltimore. It was their hometown show, Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was like I literally just put on Glow On that day. Literally got familiar with the album within a few seconds. I was like, this album's gonna be a classic. From the intro, from the first second. Actually, I wouldn't even say first second. Maybe like the first like 30 second. That would be unrealistic. Dude, it's like classic.
Yeah.
Done. Just
instant dopamine.
Basically, just it was an instant classic from start to finish, and I got really excited. And I almost felt like a poser because like I just got into them that day. And then I saw people just like screaming out the lyrics. I was like, I don't even know the lyrics yet.
I mean, they're a newer band, relatively.
They've been around for a long time.
Never mind.
A long
Delete
time.
That.
Yeah.
Or I guess their clout, their hype.
Yeah, I think Glow On is what really like put them on the map for a while.
That's what I was trying to say.
They've been around for a long time. They were a hardcore band. Like, I listened to some of their earlier stuff. I was like, oh my god, like how do y'all come from like this?
Oh, like early The Contortionist.
Oh my god, early Contortionist.
That first EP, yeah.
That shit was heavy. That shit was heavy. I actually still blast that every once in a while.
So like I wanted to get into the studio album more because it was getting such acclaim. But I preferred the live experience more. They're really fun and energetic live, really bouncy. Yeah, really good stuff.
The fucking crowd. The crowd, man. Like,
yeah, I'd like to sing for a hometown show.
Dude, constant, like no barriers, consistent crowd surfing, mosh pit. I could barely stand in one spot. Like, God, that energy was so high. Like the fact that people were like climbing on the stage and just jumping off. I was like, this is. I can't even imagine like the ecstasy that they're feeling, like that
That's awesome.
or that they experience at every single time. That this is the type of crowd that they have. and by putting like hardcore on the map, especially in like a mainstream setting.
In Anthony Fantano's review of it, he called them dream punk, and I
can see that.
I liked that term.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty fitting. Yeah,
that's a really good term for it.
So this next one, I don't know if it's even worth bringing up, but like, so kind of like that thing we were just talking about with pop music. Drake released Certified Lover Boy.
I never actually listened to Drake or like
in 2021. And I just, for whatever reason, I was in this mood to just try out a bunch of stuff. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it out. Now, I've tried listening to his albums. His first, I think like 3 or so. I don't remember what they're called. I did like those, but everything else to me has just been, he's just like phoning it in. It's just like really generic. Same deal. He'll have like a hot single. Like I liked Hotline Bling.
It's a good song.
I do like that song. I do in God's Plan. Yeah. Like he has good singles. He has the ability to do this stuff, but then I listened to his more recent albums and he's just kind of phoning it in. And it was just I wanted to check it out. He was kind of having beef with Kanye because Donda, they were either having like the same release date or like a really close one. And so I kind of wanted to listen to both and compare and contrast.
Interesting.
And
who won?
I mean, to me, Donda did. But I mean, Certified Lover Boy, it's more accessible. It's a vibe. It's definitely something you put on at a party in the background. But it's pretty like surface level stuff. It doesn't cut very deep.
Gotcha.
I don't know. The first like 2 or 3 songs in the album were pretty good. I was like, oh my God, am I actually going to start liking this? And then it just kind of took a nosedive and
nope.
It just got really flaccid and generic. This band called LLNN with their album Unmaker. They're on Pelagial Records, same one as the Ocean Collective. Which there's a trend. There's some other bands that I checked out on that label because they got a lot of really good post-metal stuff. And this band's no exception. LLNN, post-metal. They're crushingly heavy. Just the very slow, chuggy type. And
okay. You almost made me forgot about the Ocean. They're a live album, the Phanerozic.
Oh yeah,
their live album, that was actually a really good album.
But I liked LLNN. The vocalist, has this like controlled unhingedness sound. Slower chugging's monstrous, but there was just enough variety to keep me interested. Somehow it just kept getting heavier. Like the album starts and I go, it can't get heavier than this. And then the album, it just keeps going and going. It's just like the pressure just keeps compounding. It's good stuff. This next album I have actually came out in 2019, but I didn't check it out until 2021. And it's Veleno by Fleshgod Apocalypse.
Oh, Fleshgod is tight.
Yeah. And so, we at the Loathe show, we're just talking about that with Jason.
Yes.
Yeah. Fleshgod's just great at what they do. I was kind of mentioning it, and this ties in with like Lorna Shore. Lorna Shore's good. I'm not as bought into the hype as a lot of fans are right now. And because people are like, oh my God, it's like their sound, it's like so grand and huge. But to me, it's just clearly these like, I assume they're MIDI, like the orchestra and the stuff. The stuff that they're putting in. And it just feels like it's just kind of like sloppily, just kind of like thrown on top to try and make it more dramatic. Whereas like Fleshgod Apocalypse, if you don't know, they're Italian and they're like tech death, but they actually incorporate a string orchestra and that they record with. I think when touring live, they just play the recordings and sync it up. But for the actual recordings, they've got like a whole orchestra with them. And then they also have an operatic singer that tours with them.
I don't expect anything less.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not tacked on. It's not hokey. It is like 100% in the songwriting. It's not an afterthought. So
little fun fact about Fleshgod. I believe like at some point they had their own pasta shapes.
They made their own pasta?
They made their own pasta.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I would have bought it.
I know there's bands that make their own like wine and beer and stuff.
Slayer
sometimes.
has their own wine. Iron Maiden has their own beer, which isn't that great. Sorry, dudes.
I know. I think I tried that, and it wasn't great.
Metallica has their own beer as well. Which if I was that beer, I'd get so annoyed with Metallica songs because, like, in the brewing process, they fucking blast like only Metallica songs when like it's in the I guess bright tank when it's fermenting. I get so annoyed. Like, I'd be like, oh, Jesus, again. Enter Sandman. Oh, how fucking original.
I assume you mean like for the employees, but there was a part of my brain that thought you meant they were just blasting it like just for the fermentation process. Like it was affecting
That's exactly what I mean.
Oh, my God. That's dumb. Okay.
I don't know how true that is now, but like when at the time, that's what I heard. I don't know if they were just trying to be gimmicky. I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that's funny.
The fermenters, yeah, not the bright tank, the fermenters is what I meant to say. What else? I know another band has their own alcohol. Motorhead has their own,
totally are.
Motorhead has their own vodka, I think, right?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Lemmy would want his own alcohol.
Yeah, he often had a lot of alcohol.
His blood would be his alcohol.
He blends, just like drinks it. Oh shit! I'm trying to think what other companies had their own. I think those are off the top of my head. Those are the ones that are like pretty relevant. The fact Slayer have their own wine, I haven't tried it. I wish I would have bought it. I don't know if they still make it, but whatever.
So my next one, this is a favorite band, but I actually didn't vibe with this album. Bent Knee with Frosting from 2021.
Oh shit, Bent Knee. Yeah.
So I've loved all of their albums, and their albums are like, it's like still them, but stylistically it could be like something totally different. So with this album, it's like wholly unlike anything that came before it, but in that same way, it's just like their other albums. It's just, you don't know what you're going to get. But I don't know, on paper, like I should like it. Like the first 3 songs were glitzy hyper pop. The vocals were like really high pitched and it was kind of hard to discern them. And then they got some like noise rock songs with these like distorted screams and digital fuzz. And it seems like I should like that, but I just wasn't into it. It was just kind of like annoying to me. And then I just liked the closing songs, which were kind of softer. And yeah, I don't know. I love their work, but I just didn't really like Frosting.
Courtney Swain actually did some music for Bob's Burgers.
Oh, nice.
Which I was actually like, oh, that's actually really cool. I actually really like that show.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And she did that guest thing on that one Car Bomb song.
She only did like,
yeah, I know. I did want more from that song.
Yeah,
but,
same here. But like, whatever.
You get what you get.
Yeah, you get what you get. I mean, beggars can't be choosers.
All right, this one's a quick one. There's this band, SeeYouSpaceCowboy.
I've never actually listened to them.
They're good.
For me, it's one of those things where I see sometimes on forums where I'm like, I don't feel like listening to it. Like Dusty Potato was another one I never really.
Oh, I liked them.
Gotcha.
They're like genty. They're also like a genty Evanescence.
Gotcha.
But I think exclusively with clean vocals. I think from what I remember. I only listened to one of their albums and I really dug it. I haven't kept up with them though. I don't know if they're still doing stuff.
Redhead Denial was also a really good one too.
Is that a band?
That's also
okay.
Really good one.
Yeah. SeeYouSpaceCowboy, mathcore band. They had this album, The Romance of Affliction. It sounds like 2000s era metalcore and post-hardcore. Got fun breakdowns, nostalgic.
Fun for all.
Yeah, really. The vocals are really good, really like shrieky. In those early aughts. Yeah, good stuff. Mastodon released Hushed and Grim, which was really long.
Honestly, I only gave that album like a one-time listen.
Yeah. I gave it like 2 or 3. I was surprised by it. I've liked their stuff. I like that they're kind of like prog metal and sludge and kind of got that. I don't know. They're an interesting fusion of this like southern twang, but also this like airy, ethereal prog, spacey. That was what I was looking for. But yeah, it was a good album. It was solid, and I feel like the vocals have really refined.
Gotcha.
Like some albums ago, they added Braun, the drummer, on the vocals, and he's gotten a little better with each one. And
he's a solid fucking drummer.
Yeah,
So
and my whole thing liking dual vocals. I just really like Braun and the main vocalist going back and forth. I forget his name. I don't know.
I forgot it. Brent. I think somewhere. Brent.
Maybe
Hines. Brent Hines or something.
I know he's definitely one of the guitarists. All right, this came out in 2019. Opeth.
Oh,
in Cauda Venenum.
Actually, I don't think I've ever listened to that one.
It came out after Sorceress.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it came out. I didn't pay any mind to it, and then years go by. YouTube recommends it. I'm in, that same period of just like, I'll just listen to anything, try it out. And I liked it. I wasn't one of those fans that just like dropped them like a hot potato.
People dropped them?
Yeah.
Really?
When Michael Ackerfeld said he was done with like harsh vocal, like death metal vocals, and they were going with a more just like standard kind of progressive metal, progressive rock route, they dipped out. And I was here for it. I gave it a shot. I mean, I forget what that first one they released was. I don't know if it was Pale Communion or what. But they've gotten better and better. And yeah, so even though it's a different thing from their earlier work, it's still definitely worth checking out if you want that classic progressive metal vibe. It's kind of like a gothic atmosphere.
Okay.
Obviously, Ackerfeld's vocals are killer.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Honestly, like when I first got into Opeth and I was like heard the vocals, I imagined like this big meaty guy doing it. But then when I saw all the members, I was like, which one's the vocalist?
Kind of like Dickie Allen kind of a thing.
Oh yeah. Honestly, fun fact about Dickie Allen, he didn't know what fucking metal was.
Yeah.
Until like someone's like, oh dude, you'd be really good at metal, and then like eventually tried it out. I think at first he wanted to become a voice actor.
Yeah, from that Kardashev interview, I'd learned he wanted to do voice acting for cartoon characters.
Oh, that's what it was. Which is kind of like, holy shit.
All right. Next up, I got...
Oh, we saw that show too. Like, it was Dickie Allen with like Scumfuck.
Yeah.
And it was
Vulvodynia.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the Pinch in DC, which is now closed. Also, wasn't there a show you saw, Opeth? I didn't make it to that one.
Which one?
I don't know. I think it was at the Fillmore.
I did make it to that one, yeah. Was it during Sorceress?
I think so.
Yeah, I did make it to that.
Yeah. Yeah, those albums are good. Keep liking Opeth, y'all.
Yeah, like Opeth is sick.
Yeah, they haven't gone away.
I don't think they ever will.
Yeah.
Bloodbath is all. If you want that shit, go listen to Bloodbath if you want like those harsh vocals.
Oh, also, they came to Soundstage recently. I mentioned to you there was that band Soen, Soen.
Gotcha.
I think they have like a former member or two from Opeth, and they definitely have that sound.
Gotcha.
I think they mostly stick with clean vocals, but they definitely have an Opeth vibe to them. So this band actually just got signed to Metal Blade Records in November. They're called 200 Stab Wounds.
Oh, okay. They've popped up on my feed. So they're like death metal.
They really, really heavily influenced by Cannibal Corpse. They got meaty riffs. Definitely go to them if you want that, gore-soaked death metal. Yeah, I discovered them thanks to a Bandcamp article. It was like 5 metal bands you need to know. And another band on that list was called Hippo Tractor.
Hippo Tractor.
Also on Pelagial Records.
Okay.
So yeah, another post-metal band. They had this album called Meridian from 2021.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know, just post-metal's been doing it for me. Like I used to be all about like hyper technicality and blistering speeds, and now I'm just really loving these like slow build-ups to these just like crushing, pummeling riffs.
Gotcha.
And they provided. There's this band Hot Mulligan with an album You'll Be Fine and I Won't Reach Out to You. Oh, this one's from 2020. This one was recommended by my cousin Ian. Thank you, Ian. They're
shouts out to Ian.
There's some solid and catchy emo. And the vocalist is always, he's not screaming, he's just like yelling and shouting, and then he's just always kind of changing, alternating his inflection.
Gotcha.
She's just like, hey. All All right, next up, Converge and Chelsea Wolfe.
Oh, Converge, yes.
Yeah, they made Blood Moon 1, which they have intent to make another one or more, or maybe a whole series of them. Yeah, this was released 2021. It makes for some great Halloween music.
We saw Converge.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
Open for Meshuggah.
Oh, yes, that was a really good show, actually.
And
it was church.
Yeah. Yeah, this album's cool. So I never really checked out Chelsea Wolfe before. She's one of those names I always hear pop up. I don't know if she's like a solo artist or if she has like a band. I'm not really sure what she kind of does really. But in this, she was contributing vocals. And yeah, it was just like a really cool, ethereal, dark album. And I was kind of impressed with Converge. They sort of flexed their chops with their range, like, you know, clearly can do more than just their metalcore and, you know, chaotic hardcore roots. Yeah, it was cool hearing them take skills from the metal world and applying it in like a different context and it still being like heavy and interesting. So this one's Emery, which is a favorite band.
Oh, didn't we see them?
Yeah, post-hardcore group from like the early 2000s. They're still kicking it. They're still releasing
still writing
stuff.
music?
They're still writing music.
Interesting.
And they had a live album called Rub Some Dirt on It, released in 2021. And it was recorded in a 2-hour session in the same room. And I think it was recorded, I don't know if it was during the pandemic or like just after it. It was a cool experience. I enjoyed watching it, but, and this is just my very specific personal gripe with it. There is not an accompanying studio album to go along with it.
Interesting.
So this is brand new material, new songs, and the live album is the only thing to listen to it. And I like live albums, but I want it to be like studio material that I'm familiar with.
Gotcha.
You know, it's like, you know, if I want to hear Meshuggah live, it's like I want to hear, you know, Straws Pulled from Random like on their album or something. It's like, so it's kind of weird to me that like I can only engage with these new songs live, and I don't really want that.
You want something that's like more well thought out and like
I just want more like, you know, of a production and a sheen put onto it.
You want to be able to like hear the like meticulous nuances. Where like I'm not saying like I'd have to hear the live recording to like really get a full judgment of it. But like I guess typically with live albums, like was it just live? Like you said, live in the studio, right?
Yeah, I mean it was definitely raw. It was like I don't even know if it was just like in a room together. I think they were all like facing each other. So maybe that's just the songs. That's the only context they want for it. So that's fine. They can do what they want. But yeah, I don't know. I just would have liked to have had a studio album.
It's like, yeah, like you said, how to like reflect back onto like compare, contrast. What did you like the live album more? Yeah, or did you like the studio album more?
Yeah,
typically like
because I see it as like two totally different like mediums.
Like I guess the best example is the ocean. Phanerozoic, Phanerozoic. How do you fucking say it? Like
Phanerozoic, I think.
Something about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Nerds. But like there are different like aspects, like how some riffs hit harder live versus in the studio. And it's just all in context too, like how it was mixed and like what room they were at and like what the engineer's choice. So like I can get what you're saying. Like I'll listen to another good example, like Meshuggah's live album, Ophidian track. Like I'll hear those songs live, and they hit harder live. Yeah, harder. Live
they're an exception somehow. They're actually heavier live.
You get lost in a trance. Better, like in a better way, when you listen to that live album. Like everything just, you just want to look to the next person, and just like grab their face and go like ah.
Also, certain bands like the Contortionist.
I wish they would do a live album, to be honest.
Between the Buried and Me. Yeah, seeing them live multiple times, you kind of get to pick up on how they just will change things up and try things out over time.
Like earlier, like we went to see the Contortion open up for Tesseract.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like
a little. Yes, I do. At Soundstage.
That was so good. Like when they would pause and stop, like mix two songs together. Like,
It was crazy. Yeah.
I loved it.
So here, my next one, I don't know if you'll be surprised by this. So this is another one I actually didn't vibe with that much. And this was Obscura, a Valediction.
You know, it's funny. Like, I like him, but I didn't really cross on my radar, to be honest. Like, not that heavily. Arc Oasis was a way better album than Valediction.
I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for tech death when this was released, or if it's really just the album itself. But I kept listening to it over and over, and it just was like really repetitive and not too heavy for me. And like some melodies were kind of annoying. They were like this really like tinny pitch. I don't know. Like it was too high of a register. I don't really know. This one just didn't vibe with me.
Like, to me, classic Obscura will always be Universal Momentum and Cosmogenesis.
I was about to say that. I think that's probably my favorite.
Cosmogenesis. What's the second album after that?
I always forget their album names. I know like the album covers better.
Yeah. Okay. Cosmogenesis, the green one. And then Arc Oasis, which is
crap! I forgot about that one. That one's really good.
Septigulant.
Arc Oasis, yeah.
Arc Oasis is really good. Actually, I like that one a lot. The new Obscura album is like a take back onto like what old Obscura used to sound like in a way, because they just recently got back Christian Munster, I believe.
Okay.
Which is one of the OG Obscura guitarists. So like you can kind of hear similarities on like how the songs were kind of structured, and it's still a good album. Don't get me wrong. I was like, kind of like when After the Burial puts out an album, it's usually they do their thing, and you get out, and you're kind of satisfied.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, I was left satisfied. I was like, okay, cool, I've got my fix, and then like next.
I get that. After the Burial's like a perfect example, but yeah, there are certain bands where it's like I'll still consider them a favorite band, but it's kind of like I get in the mood for them, you know. Listen to their discography or their latest album, digest it kind of quickly, and then just kind of like am on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's
ADHD.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have to have staying power. You know, it can still be a favorite. I can still love it.
A lot of fans still go crazy for After the Burial, which like I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
it's a great band. Like they come and bring the doom.
Yeah,
they bring the. Chuggies.
Yeah. Anytime they come to town, I'll totally try to see them if I'm able to.
It's always a massive show too. Like. They still fucking kick it.
Yeah.
Dig is still one of my fucking favorite albums. Dig Deep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So good.
That one's really heavy.
So good. Do you remember like their old it's raining hard. Their very first EP or album, which was mixed terribly.
A Steady Decline?
Yes.
I know. I love the material itself. I just wish the production value was there.
Yeah.
If they could remaster it or something.
They should just remaster the whole thing. The shit was
They did and
like 3 songs.
They did an EP where it was like just 3 songs from that album. And it was like cool because it was some of the more popular songs. But yeah, it's like just go whole hog and just do the whole thing.
Go whole hog.
Yeah, that was a weird expression. I haven't said that in years. I don't even know what that means entirely.
I love it. Go whole hog, partner. Half hog or whole hog?
Go hog deep, brother.
Hog deep.
All right, on a different note. So this was from 2020, Ascension Codes by Cynic.
You know what? I love Cynic. That didn't really hit that hard.
It didn't for me either. I mean, I definitely felt the emotional tug. There was their drummer Sean Reiner passed away, and their bassist Sean Malone committed suicide.
R.I.P. my dudes.
So founding member Paul Masvidal continued on. Tom Lynch is a new drummer, and I was really impressed they used a bass synthesizer instead of getting a new bassist. I couldn't believe that was
a thing.
That was a thing, or that it was orchestrated in such a way. I don't know. That was impressive to me.
A lot of their sound, it comes from the fretless bass sound. Like, it's really hard. The best way I can describe the fretless bass sound is kind of rubbery.
Oh, okay.
It's very rubbery. So
I get that.
So did they use MIDI bass or a synthesized bass? I guess both are the same, like close, similar to each other.
From what I read and what I wrote, they used they They used a bass synthesizer.
Okay, that's cool. That's really cool, actually. I'm actually really surprised why I didn't go with the real bass, though.
Yeah. So yeah, I just all to say I wanted to like this album more than I did.
They had a lot of good bangers. Like Humanism, like I thought was a banger. Like
yeah, their early albums where they sound like death but more proggy.
Well, no. Like the singles he was teasing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there was probably like one single I really liked.
There was only one single.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, he's bringing the heat.
I really liked their previous album, like Kindly Bent
to.
I don't know what
Free?
it's called. God. Yeah.
Well, and of course, like how could I?
Yeah.
That album was so sick. Yeah. They had a lot of death moments in that album. That was a really ethereal album. That was like a life-changing album. That's something like you go trip, you do ayahuasca in the desert and listen to that album. I've never done ayahuasca.
Yeah. Knocked Loose.
Oh my
God. A tear in the fabric of life.
In a different shade of blue. A tear in the fabric of life was really good. That was really fucking good.
Yeah.
I tell you what, brother.
They're stupid. They're stupid heavy. Yeah. They're a group I would totally love to see live and totally get,
We saw Rolla Tomasi instead of them.
Yeah.
Which, it's a hard choice, dude.
Yeah.
It was a hard choice.
I'm definitely glad we went to that show, but yeah, 100%. That was definitely tough.
Like, why couldn't you guys plan it better?
We'll see them at some point.
We will. I really wanted to see them with Suicide Boys.
Yeah.
That would have been a killer show. Oh my God. That would have been off the rails. The fact that Suicide Boys approached them, like, hey, we really want you to go.
That's super cool.
On tour with us. And then Knock Loose is like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool when you got some different fusion. It's like Deftones at some point was headlining a tour and they asked Chvrches to be an opener for them. And some fans were all pissy and Deftones were like, we love this shit. Like, you're going to listen to it and you're going to like it.
Right. Or like,
there was a show I went to years ago. The headliner was 9 Inch Nails. Opening for them was Soundgarden. Opening at the start of the show was the Dillinger Escape Plan.
What year was this? What year was this?
I don't know, like 2015, maybe something like that.
Gorsh.
Yeah, right before Soundgarden.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Chris Cornell.
Yeah,
yeah, it was right before he passed away. It was like their last tour or something.
R.I.P. my dude.
Yeah, I was mostly there for Dillinger. Unfortunately, we got there late, and I only heard their last song. It was right when One of Us Is the Killer was released. I have
that hoodie.
I think they ended on like When I Lost My Bet or something like that. That's like the only thing I heard. I was so bummed out. Like no one was there for them. There was like 15 people at the front. I was so sad.
Dude, I fucking love that song. That album was so good.
I love that album.
Disassociation was a really good album to end on for Dillinger.
Yeah.
That's a really good album.
One of Us Is the Killer and Option Paralysis. I swing back and forth on which is my favorite, but I think ultimately One of Us Is the Killer is just a more consistent album.
I agree.
I think I love some individual songs from Option Paralysis more, but as a whole album, One of Us Is the Killer is like, I could never want anything more. Like, Language is one I want for prog. One of Us Is the Killer is what I want for mathcore and like everything else. Anyway.
God, yeah. When was the actually, when I first saw Dillinger, I think it was the first Summer Slaughter tour when they were headlining, right?
Yeah,
2013. So like, before we were friends, I think, right? So, same thing. I was there for Summer Slaughter, and I think Animals as Leaders was like. This was actually retract my whole statement. When I went to that Summer Slaughter. I was there for a lot more of the prog shit, and I was really surprised that when this lineup had a lot of bands that I wasn't really like familiar with, like Norma Jean, like Dillinger Escape Plan. I think I knew Rings of Saturn. They were on that lineup.
That lineup was insane. The Ocean was there.
Yeah, it was more of a prog fest than anything. And that's when I was kind of like maybe turned off by Summer Slaughter because I usually at the time was more familiar with Summer Slaughter being just more death metal and deathcore. And then this was the first year when I saw them, introducing the
Animals as Leaders was there too.
Yeah,
it was an insane lineup. It
was a weird lineup. And then I remember talking to one of my friends, Gunter. I believe he mentioned Dillinger Escape Plan. And I think at the time I was like, oh, if he likes it, they must be good. And then when I saw Dillinger live, I was like, what the fuck is this? And like I saw like something Pucciato.
Greg,
yeah, Greg climbing the rafters or whatever. Was he climbing the rafters? I think he was, right?
I think so. I think they started the set and they said security told them if they leave the stage, the show gets canceled. So they had to stay
within the
stage,
parameter.
but yeah, he was climbing like their speakers and shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I remember.
He totally would have been up there on the second floor if he could have been.
He had his like mouth on the mic and go like,
yeah.
Like it was crazy. Did he like? Did he smash his head into mic?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he always tried to draw blood if he was able to.
Yeah, he's a fucking maniac.
And I heard like early shows, like Ben would like jab his guitar into the crowd and like poke at them. Yeah. There was like some infamous set where they just like after it all they threw their instruments in a pile and like lit it on fire.
Oh shit.
They did crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're old now. And like Ben's a farm boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what Greg does.
He's doing he has solo material. He's been releasing. I haven't been as into it. It's
Black Queen and something else, right?
So I did like the Black Queen, but nothing new's come from them. His solo material is very influenced by like grunge and like Soundgarden and stuff, and that's grunge is not something I've really ever gotten into. So I wish I could like it because he's always been one of my favorite vocalists, but I haven't really gelled with his solo material.
He's a good voice too.
Oh my god, yeah. He's like pristine in both his clean vocals and his screams. His like kind of like Keith Buckley, his like controlled chaos where it's like
for sure
visceral but still discernible what he's saying.
Wait, I guess like after seeing Dillinger Escape Plan, like I was very, I guess my first time being exposed to him was very, I guess overwhelming because I was like, I had no idea what was going on. There was chaos. And then like the whole visual aspect of like when One of Us the Killers came out, they had like the screens going on with like this little hypnotic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I forgot what experiment they put on, but like it was a really cool one.
I think I know what you mean. They had like weird archival footage and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that. And I think after that, I was like, I'm actually kind of cold. And then I went to the merch booth and bought like One of Us is the Killer hoodie. And honestly, I wear that. And
I know you still have that.
I still have that. It's still a good memoir. Like the first time I got into them, and I'm like, you know, they're definitely up there for me as far as music.
I have a white, just a solid white T-shirt with the Dillinger logo in the center.
Same.
And I no longer wear it anymore because it visibly has like sweat stains on it. It's like one of my grungiest band shirts that I've probably worn at the most shows ever. Now I just keep it as like, I don't know, a souvenir or some crap, like just memorabilia of concerts past.
You know, recently someone told me like I have a lot of shirts. I'm like, yeah, but they're good memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't think I could ever donate any of those shirts. No, unless I was like maybe like 80 years old.
Yeah, I've only gotten rid
bury them with me.
Yeah, I've only gotten rid of bands that I'm just like really not. Yeah, really don't listen to anymore. But yeah, I mostly keep a lot of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you look back at it, when you find that one gem, you're like, it kind of brings a smile back. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
The one shirt I wish I would have bought though. The one shirt, the Corey Feldman shirt.
Oh yeah.
I wish I would have bought the Corey Feldman shirt
as proof.
As I went. Yeah.
That's true.
God, that show was. If we've talked about it before.
I think so. Yeah,
but I'm gonna bring it back. That was the show where I kind of regret going to. I could have lived not going.
It was real cringe.
It was. I'm sorry, Corey, but like that was. We went there. We sat through the whole set too.
Yeah, did it for the lols. It wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it. No, don't ever do things for the memes. Old man talk.
Yeah, don't ever go to a show ironically. Don't do anything ironically.
Do it with intent.
Yeah, go because you legitimately like it. Don't waste your time.
God, we went there, and at first it was funny. I'm not gonna lie. At first it was entertaining.
Yeah,
but then as like the show went on, we could visibly see his angels like just be kind of like depressed and just kind of like just melancholic.
It was sad. Yeah.
Excuse me. And we sat there. We sat for the one song that we knew, and we were like, "We can go.
Yeah,
please, let's go." some of our friends dipped out early too, which I'm like, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
We just really wanted to see the one song, which had Snoop Dogg in it.
Yeah. He was not there.
Yeah, of course he wasn't there. All right. You know, it's funny. The one song that like scared me for a bit when I first got introduced to Vulvodynia, like the opening track of their, I think it was their second album. Vulvodynia slaps, by the way.
Yeah, they are cool. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention them, but I did listen to that latest album of theirs. It might have been 2021 or something.
Praenuntius Infiniti.
Maybe. I only listened to it once.
It
was
Justice.
cool.
Mob Justice, I think, was really good. So, Psychosadistic Design. Yeah, that album, I think, was my introduction to Vulvodynia, and I was like, wow, this is... I want to say it's caveman core for a bit, but like the opening track was actually legitimately scared me for a bit. It sounded really haunting. It like sounded like the sounds of someone getting like slaughtered, and like even though it was kind of like cartoonish in a way, like the sound effects, I still had like that very vivid image of like someone like guts, like spewing out and just kind of like getting like sawn and like cut, and I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, you introduced me to them. I'd never really checked out Slam
there we
as
go,
a genre
Slam.
before.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what it was called, Slam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Mob Justice came out, I thought that album was brilliant. Like, solid album for, like, that genre of music. And, like, good guitar work. Like, they really upped up their guitar work, like, a lot on that album. And then Praenuntius Infiniti. I'm sorry, Praenuntius, or honestly, how the fuck do you say it? Just tell me how you say it.
I think I know what you mean, and I couldn't tell you at all.
Correct me, please. How do you say it? That album was really good. I think the mix, as far as like the production value goes, I think it was a little overproduced. It was, some of it was just a little too trebly for my taste, as far as like guitar sounds, and just great guitar work regardless. But I just felt like the mix could have been like just a tad bit like less produced and like less darker. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not the one fucking selling that album. Whatever. But like, it's still a good album. I'd still listen to it again.
So I have one more.
I'm excited
for 2021.
I want to hear it.
It's Whitechapel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I haven't listened. So end of high school, early college, they were my favorite band.
Okay.
They were my all-time favorite band. But then they just kept releasing albums, and they were kind of slowly, gradually losing me. Finally, it culminates with Mark of the Blade, which was to me just a boring cringe fest.
Gotcha.
That's the one that had the elitist ones on it. It was so cringe. It was so bad. I wrote that song, The Elitist Ones, was one of the greatest boner killers for me in the form of music. It's horrendous.
Oh my God.
But anyway, time goes by and they release The Valley, which was, maybe that was 2019. I forget. It was like a concept album about I think a serial killer. And it was kind of back to more death metal class, their deathcore roots, and it was getting good reviews. And then their latest one is Kin. And so I decided to check it out, and I'm not head over heels about it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, okay, cool. This is better than, where they were heading for a bit. They were getting a little stale.
Gotcha.
So by their standards, with deathcore and stuff, it was a bit more progressive. It was a lot more atmospheric. Phil Bozeman, his clean vocals have improved a lot. I made a note. They kind of reminded me of Maynard James Keenan a little bit. And their sound reminded me a bit of like Rivers of Nile.
Gotcha.
Or
Rivers of Nihil.
Fit for an Autopsy.
Okay,
that latest
okay.
It seems like there's this sort of current thing. I don't even know how
kind
to
of like I want to say yelping, but kind of like a yelling singing style.
Maybe, yeah. Just like integrating some more cleaner vocals and a little more atmosphere, imbued into it. And so the sort of like accompanying little rant or tangent I have with it is like, kudos to Whitechapel. I'm glad, they're trying something different and it's getting well received. But my sort of resistance is people were going, I feel like, above and beyond with their praise for the album. They were acting like it was like reinventing the wheel and it was like the hottest new thing. And maybe I'm totally off base on this because, you know, who knows with the internet, like what people actually feel like. You know, I'm just basing this off of some people's reactions I saw on the internet, which is always like exaggerated. But anyway,
Of course.
all I was going to say was like, you know, it's a decent album. I'll congratulate it, but I'm not going to, you know, praise it to high heaven because they just added some clean vocals or something. Like with deathcore, from what I've gathered, I like deathcore. I totally like it. But it seems to me like fans have these very rigid parameters of like what they're willing to accept. So
I agree.
So in order for bands to like evolve, it has to be like the most slow, gradual thing. And so this album came out and they were just accepting it. They were like, oh my God, they're so brave for like, you know, trying this new thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, buddy, it's 2021. It's 2022. Like prog has been a thing since like the 70s, like the 60s. Like we were talking about colors earlier. It's like you can do anything.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
I agree.
So I'm not going to congratulate you all. It reminds.
I think it's more like I think it sounds like you're more mad at the fan base than you are more at the fan base than you are at the band. Because like the fan base to me is very cringe because like their mindset I'm sorry, y'all. Like you can hate me, I don't give a fuck. Like a lot of like
most hated podcasters in the world.
Most hated podcasts in the world. A lot of like I guess people who don't diverge outside of their like genre of music, they are very like bland in their taste, and then they tend to gatekeep. They tend to be pure, and it's just kind of like this, like I want to say not nihilistic, but this like very suppressed view on music, where what it should be, what it shouldn't be, and it's just like, buddy, like there's a whole fucking world out there. Like if you go look at it, like, you can't just fucking be in this scene and
look at the sky.
Yeah, fucking look at like the whole massive genres of music and like what shit has been reinvented, what shit is evolving right now. Like there's so much more to experience, and I've met people who like just they can't think outside of that. And I mean I'm not gonna lie, I used to be a little like that, like if it ain't heavy I'm not listening to it.
I was too. Yeah.
But like you gotta grow the fuck up, like listen to other shit.
Another example is
I'm taking a stab at certain people I know too. I'm not gonna lie, it's like
another example, a couple years ago, Slayer, I couldn't tell you what album, but they had a fairly recent album where they had the first ever instrumental song, no vocals, and I'm not, you know, people weren't like going crazy about it, but just like I saw some people talk about it and they're like, wow, like instrumental, crazy. And I'm like,
that's been a thing.
Listen, I'm not a musician, so, you know, like I'm only from a standpoint of a critic, but if I were a musician, like, come on, like at some point I would have experimented and made like just an instrumental track, or I would have tried something else. Like, I don't know. That's it. That was my rant. Just like stop pigeonholing artists, just let them expand and, you know, create stuff.
Like I get like their fan base is going to react the way they're going to react, but like people who live on the internet, like let people grow. Let people like try other things, like you're saying, and it's just kind of like that's how an artist gets better. Like, you can't have like, you know, the rainbow without the rain type of shit, but like without the rain, like you will get a rainbow at the end. And it's some bands they decline, whatever, they had their time, like, but you gotta let artists be artists and express how they feel their image, and then like let them do it.
Yeah,
that's how you're gonna get good shit out of it. I mean, like the Contortionists is a great example. Like they went from this stupid, dumb, heavy core, deathcore band to like this fucking beautiful, like progressive metal band with like ambient textures and knowledge. And then I want to say they even like shaped an entire genre too to it. You know, like with Language and Exoplanet like being like hard hitters, and then the album between, Intrinsic. That was like not a favorite for mine for a little bit, but like what I got out of it was Language.
Yeah, like, I love it now.
I like, and after listening to Language, and I decided to go back to listen to Intrinsic. Like, I can kind of see that direction that they were like experimenting with, and it was it was good. There were like a few songs here and there that didn't really vibe with me, but like you play around with it, you get enough of it, you will appreciate it. That's all I really gotta say.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break.
Yeah, that's it for 2021. Now we'll get into 2022. I got a real quick one. Enterprise Earth with The Chosen.
Interesting. Okay.
Kind of remind me a little bit of Infant Annihilator. There's some genty deathcore with a little metalcore thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It was just it was a fun listen.
God, I haven't listened to that band in a while, to be honest. I have a coworker. She really likes Enterprise Earth, and I was like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you to enjoy it."
Yeah, I don't know much of them. It was really just it was, I don't know, one of those like algorithmic recommended music things. It was like, here's a new album, and I'm like, okay, I've heard that name before, and so I gave it a shot. Ooh, Haunted Shores, Void.
Oh, I forgot that album came out this year.
Yeah, that one's Misha
and
I forget his name. Yeah, Mark
Holcomb.
Yeah, I like it. Was, it's one of the other projects of those two Periphery members, and they haven't released anything in a while. I think you had been more aware of them than I was.
Oh yeah, I remember listening to them back in the day, especially when it was just Mark and some other people. Like each song was featured a different guest. And now it turned from like this prog fest into like more of like a black metal thing.
I was about to say, yeah, kind of like with Alluvial's first album. I really liked getting to hear instrumental black metal, but also with the production quality that we expect from Periphery. Because if there's anything I don't like, it's poor quality, and you usually kind of get that with. That's usually a big characteristic with black metal. So yeah, I liked getting this, very specific thing with Haunted Shores. It's like black metal, no vocals. I can actually hear what's going on. Cool.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh God, what else? Yeah, like the new album, like was really good. Actually, I listened to that album several times.
The single they released is the thing I listened to the most. Hellfire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that song was crazy.
Hellfire. Yeah, that song was really fun.
Right on. I dig it. So keeping the trend going, I have another hip hop one. This album I only listened to once and I loved it, and I'm not sure why I haven't gone back to it. I truly do need to listen to it again. And it's Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morales and the Big Steppers.
Honestly, I didn't give that one a listen.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was what we've come to know and love, intricate songwriting, clearly puts a lot of thought into the lyrics and the story about it. Also really personal and vulnerable and genuine, just about, where he is in his career, like him and everyone around him going like, what are you going to do next? Everyone's all the pressure of like everyone expecting a masterpiece at all times. Trying to be a family man, his kids growing up and being there for his kids and his wife. Yeah, it was really good. I listened to it the once. I was like, yeah, that's incredible. And then I just haven't listened to it again, and I need to.
To me, To Pimp a Butterfly is still a masterpiece to me. That's the one I go back and visit the most. As far as Kendrick's like discography. That and Damn. Damn was really good.
Oh, you know what? I guess the reason I haven't gone back to this one is this album is it's legitimate art, but I guess like entertainment wise, it's not it's not quite chock full of like the usual bangers we kind of expect, which I guess is kind of like a dumb simple take, but
it's probably gonna be one of those albums where you kind of like go back later with like a more matured state of mind and appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah, it's probably something that you just kind of like put on, vibe out to it, like maybe like read along to the lyrics. And
that's one thing I've been doing too. Like honestly, when I really dig a song, I will pull up the lyrics and just like read it, and I feel more attached to the song and more like closer to it after that.
Yeah, if I really love a song just from the sound of it enough, and I want to know what's going on, then I'll look up the lyrics, and then it usually just helps me like it even more.
Honestly, I've been doing with this one band. This is not a 2022 album, but like Cienavar, Omniphobia. I really enjoy that album a lot. And after listening to like Omniphobia like several times, I decided to look up the lyrics, and I just felt more attached to the song. Like I felt like there's like the actual, I can see the actual story, and then like when I'm reading the lyrics, I'm reading as like a younger version of myself, and I can relate to those lyrics a lot more than I thought I would. And like that's not a genre of music that I would have like listened to like when I just think album came out 2016. Yeah, not 2016. I wouldn't have listened to that album, but like now, I imagine myself in like picturing myself in those lyrics when the vocalist is like singing.
Yeah.
I'm like I just feel more close to that because I've been in like those situations.
I also feel like the older you get and the more life experience you get, the easier it is for you to like identify with more things. Like I've been experiencing that with more video games and books I've been reading and movies I've been watching. Mm-hmm. I used to be like a total edgelord and would just seek out these really like dark thrillers and dramas and like, you know, really like depressing, miserable things. And now it's like even just like more and more like, I don't know. It's just like harder for me to get through like certain thrillers and stuff now because I just like identify with the characters more, or like, or if like a character's wife or like child is, you know, in danger or something, I can like take, you know, someone in my life and like as they're like a stand-in for that character, and I like can't even imagine what they're going through. I don't know. It's like the older I get, like the more the like harder it is for me to even kind of like emotionally deal with this stuff. I don't know. That was a weird, crazy tangent.
No, I got what you're saying. Like, it just happens. Like, music relates to an experience, and like music will always be there forever. And it doesn't matter at what point in life you decide to relate, but like when you finally experience it, there's a song for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I dumbed it down.
Yeah. Mine was all like long-winded and weepy.
And I was just like, okay.
Emotion.
I'm emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So this next one, they didn't release anything in 2022, and I was aware of them in previous years, but I really got into them this year, and it's Under the Pier.
Oh, local boys.
Yeah, so
shouts out.
So yeah, we saw them open for the number 12 Looks Like You
Yo.
at Auto Bar, and we saw them open for the Rollo Tomasi show
at
Metro Gallery, and I even got to talk to Dylan for a little bit, and their other guitarist whose name I forget and I feel bad about. But yeah, I was very complimentary to them. I said they remind me a bit of Psyopus, which they took as a compliment, and I'm glad because that's how I intended it. And as Carson Pace, vocalist of Callous Cowboy, said, they make music that scares me. And yeah, it's unrelenting mathcore. It's, you know, fast, erratic, pummeling, scary. It's awesome. It's what I want mathcore to be. Angular, you know, it zigs and zags. You know, you can't really get your bearings or know where it's going. It's awesome. Big fan. Kudos.
Number 12 Looks Like You. You brought me back to like that old, that Autobar show. That show was so intimate.
Yeah, that was a very fun show.
So
Under the Pier, Godmother.
Godmother was great.
Number 12?
That was a great Tuesday night show.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Was it Pound too?
Yeah. Man, Pound is good.
Yeah. They are.
They're working on something new, aren't they?
I think they're actually thinking about getting a vocalist or a bassist. Or
Ooh, that's cool.
But the fact that like number 12 had everybody come on stage. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then he had a whole sit down and like just this whole intimate thing. Actually, I'm getting a little warm off that. I was just like, remembering that.
They were so like thankful and grateful because they've been out of it for a little bit. Yeah.
They're fucking geniuses too.
I never really listened to them, even though I know mathcore is so my thing, and they were really influential with it. I just never really checked them out.
Jazz virtuosos. You remember we just started playing Michael Jackson a little bit?
I think so.
I remember. I was like, oh, they're just okay. So they know some shit.
Yeah. So I think it was because of YouTube recommendation I discovered this band. I don't know if this is how it's pronounced. Khruangbin,
yeah. Oh,
psychedelic rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool. Like,
it's funny. All right, I'm not a big fan of them. I'm sorry.
See, it's funny, like I wouldn't be as into Hiatus Coyote, but I really vibed with them.
Okay.
And then you're like the inverse. That's funny. But yeah, I like them. They're like mostly instrumental. Sometimes they do some vocals, or sometimes the vocals are not even like directly singing. It's just sort of like part of the ambiance kind of stuff. But yeah, I just really vibed with them. I just really liked them.
So like, I guess I've listened to Khruangbin before, but like I found their music a little bit too mellow for my taste. It's just like, I feel like it's just all one-sided and just kind of like just some dude noodling, and I kind of just get bored off of it, to be honest. I like some of the grooves are really cool, but like a lot of it is just the same, but I can never really like fully invest my time with it, just because I just know exactly what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't really seem like there's anything there for me.
All right.
That's how I feel about it. I'm sure y'all are really cool, but like, I'm sorry.
I still respect and love you.
Yeah. You're like, after the show, I'm killing you.
So this next one, I showed you these guys in the car once. Frostbit.
I think you showed me them.
Yeah, they're like a new metal band. And what was funny was like I showed them to you and I was like, I love these guys' instrumentals, but I'm not really into the vocals. And then I showed them to you and described their sound, and we were listening to them, and I was like, no, I like this. This is heavy. Like I never really grew up listening to Korn, and it's clearly Korn clearly Korn influenced.
Clearly corny.
But yeah, then I checked out some Korn, and then I went back to their sound, and yeah, it's almost like a Loathe kind of situation where it's like they're clearly influenced by a thing, and then they just kind of like go an extra step, you know.
Korn is sick. I like Korn. Hot take. Fuck you guys who don't like Korn. Korn's sick. They have some sick grooves.
Distinguisher
was really good.
We discovered them from opening at the Rings of Saturn show.
They're from Nevada.
Yeah, some mathy hardcore. They're really good.
Yeah,
really heavy.
Extortionist was a really good.
Some good crowd work. Yeah, I forgot to. Yeah, Extortionist.
I loved Extortionist. I actually liked Extortionist a bit more than Distinguisher. Extinguisher was really good. Distinguisher was really good.
And I was the opposite. I prefer Distinguisher more.
Excuse me. Yeah, Extortionist just like, just raw fucking like, just fucking grimy, like nasty, filthy, just tones.
Yeah.
I loved it.
This next one is a big return. This group hasn't done anything for a while. Alexis on Fire.
Interesting.
Canadian post-hardcore group. I was super into them in high school. You know, they had, you know, those like 2 albums that were super beloved. Yeah, the album's called Otherness. It's their return after 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
And Dallas Green returns on vocals, and they still got it.
Like, I had a customer / regular who comes into Jailbreak. He saw them. I try to tell him I'm like not really into like Alexis on Fire, but like I mean like I respect them. I respect them, but they're not really my cup of tea. Of course, he grew up with it. He grew up with them. I didn't grow up with them, so I'm not gonna take away that like joy. It'd be really weird with me if I did.
A lot of the fans have that like nostalgia tied in with it. Yeah, like I got into them in high school, and so that's just like wrapped up in me.
Like I never really gave them a chance or listened or like fully invested my time listening to them, but I know like a lot of people like them, and I know Dallas Green has a side project, City in Color.
Yeah, I liked that too. Yeah, I mean it's totally different. It's mellow. He also did a single album with Pink called You Plus Me.
Pink?
Yes, like Pink, the pop artist.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of sick.
Yeah. It was good stuff. I liked it.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, Alexis on Fire, you know, it's got the 1-2 punch of you got, you know, Dallas Green's catchy choruses and, you know, angelic voice, and then the rest of the band having, you know, catchy hardcore breakdowns and heaviness.
I'll have to give Alexis on Fire a chance.
So this one was kind of a shame. You know, algorithm recommended this band called Dealer.
Interesting. I've heard of them before.
Discovered them. I got really hype about them because I was like, this sounds a little fresh. It's, you know, it's some real heavy metalcore. But then I found out they disbanded because the vocalist had some sexual assault allegations. So that's a big yikes. So poo-poo on him. Poo-poo. Don't do that. You suck. Jason Richardson, number 2. Or just called 2.
Oh God, I actually never listened to that one.
By the way, these things these aren't all necessarily favorites.
Yeah, they just like
a lot of them are favorites, but it's also just stuff that left an impression where I'm like, that was something.
Okay.
So yeah, Jason Richardson 2.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. I never actually like take the time to listen to it because I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. Me in my own world was just like, I don't want to get to that point where I'm just like stuck playing the same songs over and over again. I forget like there's always new music.
I know. I get in funks for a bit, and then I try to. It usually just comes up naturally.
Yeah.
There's just cycles where a bunch of stuff will get released. And I'm like, oh yeah. But yeah, I liked this one better than his first album. It was basically just better songwriting. I felt like the first one was a lot of technical wankery. This one had like a little more soul to it, if you will. Not that it was like soulful music. It was still like heavy, you know, gent. But just like, I just thought the songwriting was just a bit more interesting. Yeah. I liked it.
God, I completely forgot he released a second album. I feel so bad because I definitely follow him on social media. I don't know why I forgot.
Russian Circles released an album called Gnosis. And
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sure did.
Sure did.
It's great post metal as usual. I've liked them for a little bit now, and I told you earlier I only just recently realized that their bassist was previously from Botch. I did not know that.
Yeah, you told me about that, and then we were talking about how like Botch kind of like kind of got back briefly for like a song, and then like to re-release like an old record.
Yeah,
interesting.
I also finally decided to check out this band that I had heard about so much in so many different music circles, Black Midi.
Black Midi, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I entirely like them. I'm interested by them.
Interesting.
Very off the wall, avant-garde, rock. They still have like some sort of metal fans and heavier fans who are into them because like they're kind of in that spectrum of music where like if you make stuff that's so, it's kind of like we were talking about earlier with like free jazz. Just if you make stuff that's so off the wall, it becomes heavy. Like if it's so unexpected and jarring, it's kind of heavy in its own way.
I fear jazz.
Yeah.
And its lack of boundaries. This is kind of like on the EDM side of things. The Glitch Mob.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking Dropout Kings. Never mind. I think they had an album called Glitch Gang. Never mind.
Interesting. The Glitch Mob. Like at my old job, like my boss would play this for a bit, and like he would just play whatever he was feeling. At some point, at some stuff, it would get kind of annoying. I'd be like, bro, can you like change it? This shit kind of sucks.
This is a rap group?
No, it's a.
Like, you said EDM.
Yeah, EDM, just like electronic music, and yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the album, the moment, really good, really dancey. I have my little phases.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of music that has EDM influences and aspects, but I feel like it's been a while since I've listened to just straight up EDM.
I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say it's like, well, like, it's not electronic dance. It's more like just electronic music.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do dance to it, but whatever. I don't know how someone wants to actually categorize it.
Yeah, I like electronic stuff. Yeah.
Who else I've been listening to? This local band called Nightlife. They're pretty tight, actually. Actually was talking to the drummer for a bit on like this like little bar crawl. And like we kind of just like instantly connected. I was like, "Yo, like we need to hang out sometime." It's actually really cool. It's kind of like, how would I describe pop? Like I wouldn't say like I guess gent pop or anything, but like I guess like a heavier pop. It's like super. Honestly, it'd be like a great introductory to like the heavy realm because it has like those heavy
alternative pop maybe.
Yeah, alt pop. There we go. It has those like heavy like modern metal elements, but in the like in a modern like context.
Yeah.
And it's very marketable, and it's a very how can I even explain? God damn, my vocabulary sucks. I would say it's entry level friendly, especially like if you like dance games. Accessible. Jesus Christ, that A word. That's what we pay you the big bucks. That's what we pay. But no, yeah, like they're very accessible. So like local dudes, I think they played. They have a great album. It's called just New Low.
Cool.
It's an EP. Also, another thing that's kind of been scratching my like little pop itch was Kylie Minogue.
Haven't heard of it.
Oh, you've definitely heard of Kylie Minogue.
Oh,
like, you've definitely heard of her. Like after this, I'll play you like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, I know exactly who she is. You've definitely heard. And then TikTok real music that I've been listening to is Eliza Rose, baddest of them all. It's kind of dancey. I really like it.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure whether to bring them up or not, but yeah, TikTok definitely introduced me to some artists. There was like one called Urban Heat, which was very influenced by Joy Division, and whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm done with this.
Your brain is shutting off.
I give up. Yeah.
Honestly, don't be ashamed to like music that gets popular off TikTok, because like that's sometimes how I get introduced to stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I've been introduced to some great stuff thanks to TikTok. Dropout Kings, like I mentioned earlier, they're like got some rap metal. They just played at Cafe 611 not that long ago.
No way.
Yeah, no, TikTok's introduced me to a lot of really great stuff.
Shit, what's another one that another TikTok reel song? Yawasobi. It's like another TikTok song that I really got into. It's really cool, like J-pop. I thought it was awesome. Oh, another one. If you're not familiar with Ichikanito.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Recently. Yeah.
His album with his band called Dios.
Okay. Yeah,
it's actually really good. I actually really like it. It's like J-pop stuff.
Yeah, I discovered him. I think he did some sort of collab with some other guitar virtuoso. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, I think I also saw some of his stuff on TikTok. Yeah, no, I do not shun, you know, how a band wants to market themselves, especially, you know, if they got some cool creative stuff on TikTok. Yeah.
Another album that's always like, this didn't come out this year, but it came out like a few years ago, but still fucking hits me hard today. Slow Decay by the Acacia Strain.
Yeah.
That album's so good.
Yeah, that is really good. Also, sorry, back to the other thing. Even if it's not TikTok, it's like it would have been Bandcamp. It would have been YouTube. It's like, it's just the internet. Yeah. You're just finding a band, you know,
Instagram Reels.
Whatever means possible. Yeah. But yeah, Acacia Strain, I've always dug them, but yeah, something about Slow Decay really hits just right. It feels like they've really culminated into some.
And their new single that they just released too, fucking crush.
I still haven't listened to that yet.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Another one, one of your favorites actually, Alpha Wolf, A Quiet Place to Die.
Ooh,
it's so
I
good.
forgot to add that to my list. I'm such a dumb idiot.
That was so good. That was like my.
I think that released 2020. Yeah. That album's so good. I was so happy we finally got to see them live. I'll totally see them again.
And like after listening to that album, I'm more hyped seeing them live. Like,
Caveman core, stupid heavy.
Fucking drop tune, Digitech sound. So
yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah. Akudama.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Oh God, what else? I've been going sometimes retro, like Show Me Love by Robin S. The sample to that song, I think Beyonce actually sampled her sample or whatever. She sampled this song into one of her latest album, I think, and I think she pulled it off well, but I'm not a big Beyonce fan, so I really don't care.
Yeah. This is a whole tangent, but I remember one time going to check out Beyonce because everyone's like, she's the queen, she's amazing. I'm like, all right, how good could this be? And I was surprised at how shockingly generic. Her stuff was. Now I listened to some stuff off Lemonade, that album, and it was a bit better. But like, yeah, it's like her rapping's really nothing to go crazy about. I mean, her singing is good, but I don't know. It just kind of felt devoid of something. I don't know. It was kind of hollow. I don't know. It wasn't great.
It's just manufactured.
Yeah. That's
I
it.
think apparently the whole hype for this album that she released is that she did everything like organically on her own, whatever, wasn't as manufactured. I still don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I saw some memes about doing that same thing, crapping on her, just being like, she's like created by a team of people. Like,
whatever. Like, I mean, I'm not the one making millions either. Though.
Yeah.
So like, I'm probably just jealous that she gets to do it. I don't. But shit, what's another one that I've been like dying? She makes millions. I'm here. Oh, dude, JPEG Mafia still hits hard for me. Or honest, and Puya still is a really good album. The South Got Something to Say. Like that album is still really good to me. Still hits pretty hard this year. And honestly, like these two like YouTube artists, Joseph Anijar and Joshua De La Victoria, like those two guitarists are very great. Like they collab very well together.
Yeah.
They have like 2 singles. Joseph has one song called Reach, and then them together have one single called Traveler, which is super sick. I actually really dug that album. Dug that song. Another one that like really hit hard this year was Kublai Khan.
Oh, I didn't check that out. I've never really listened to them.
They're really good. I really enjoy it a lot. Kublai Khan bangers.
Quick little one, Straight from the Path, had Euthanasia.
That album's pretty good.
Yeah.
I only gave it like maybe 4 solid listens, but like I thought the album was really well produced.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it as much as their previous ones. But yeah, still really liked it. They've been solid. They're very consistent.
Like I would say the production quality has gone up.
Oh yeah.
Up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Assuredly. Revocation.
Yeah, honestly,
released Nether Heaven.
Honestly, I love Dave Davidson. Like I don't know, for some reason I can't really get into Revocation like that.
I was just about to say, this is the first album I couldn't get into of theirs.
Interesting.
And every time I tried listening to it, it just went. And I don't know how to describe the sensation. It's like music was playing, I was hearing it, but I feel like I couldn't discern anything. I couldn't distinguish one song from the next. It just kind of went, and I couldn't really latch onto anything that I liked. Like I appreciated the musicianship. I don't know. I just couldn't latch onto this album. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just they've been doing the same thing long enough that finally it's just kind of worn out on me, or if it was just specific to this album. But I agree, it didn't latch on to me.
Like I loved his earlier albums, but
Chaos of Forms.
Chaos was really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love him as a player. As a songwriter, I can never really just jive with his music.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I respect you as a player. Great musicianship, everything, fantastic. Just can't do it.
Yeah. You don't have to.
Yeah.
There's this Russian gent metalcore band I discovered years and years ago called the Korea.
Interesting.
And they released an album in 2022 called Veradicon. And I mean, it's nothing really different from what they've been doing. They kind of sound like Tesseract a little bit.
Interesting.
But like not so much on the clean vocals. They have clean vocals. But yeah, I don't know. They're just kind of like I don't want to say standard, but like yeah, they're solid, genty metalcore, you know, catchy chorus, heavy riff, catchy chorus. You know, they just kind of have their structure and they stick to it. But every once in a while they kind of, and usually why I've stuck with them is every once in a while they throw in like some sort of, you know, angular Viljarta style riff that's just kind of zany.
Hot take. Can't get into Slaughter to Prevail.
Yeah. I listened to their latest album. It had heavy moments, but yeah, I'll never go back to it really.
Yeah. I don't know. It just I see a lot of clout behind them. I'm glad they're doing their thing outside of Russia. I'm glad they're like, I guess they're thriving, and I just can't really get into the music.
Yeah.
It's just boring to me. It's just boring.
Yeah.
That's all it really is.
Agreed. Nothing to really latch on to.
Yeah.
Here's a out of left field one. Carly Rae Jepsen with The Loneliest Time.
I don't even know who that is.
She did Call Me Maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she released a new album. I saw a clip on TikTok and I went, wow, I haven't heard of her in many, many years. And it was getting good reviews. And
really?
I was surprised it was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like for a pop album, it's like there's actually like good instrumentals, kind of Silk Sonic-y.
Interesting.
You know? Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like
you'll have to link that to me.
Kind of R&B, sexy.
Because I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's catchy. It was a fun listen.
Oh my god! I remember you were telling me. What's that one country artist you were telling me that you were like?
Oh, I was just about to. Yeah, Orville Peck.
Yeah, Orville Peck.
Yeah, that was when I got into the album Bronco. Came out this year. He's a solo country artist from South Africa. He's gay, and
is he single though?
He hides his identity. He wears like a mask, yeah, really good stuff. He's got a flair to him. He's got some panache. Man, I mean, he got me to listen to country. I swore off country when I turned 18 because up until that point I listened to a bunch of it and I just went, I'm tired. I need to broaden my horizons. I need new stuff. Now, I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue he's kind of like pop country. But I don't know. He's at least not as generic and formulaic as the rest of the glitzy, Lady Antebellum, formulaic pop country. And because of him, I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to country in a while. So I tried listening to some other stuff. And I discovered this bluegrass guy, Billy Strings.
Interesting.
Who's pretty good. And he has a bunch of songs about drugs, and he plays the banjo crazy fast.
I always respected banjo players. I could never really get into bluegrass, though.
Oh, baby.
And
how did I forget this one? Oh, my God.
Yeah, and
oh, I'd love to see them live.
Gather and Morning people.
Billy Reimer on drums.
God, and
they're a super group. They got members from all sorts of stuff.
I believe it's mostly Will Putney and like Billy Reimer.
Okay,
yeah, that and it's just filth.
Yeah,
filth.
Yeah.
God, you want that HM2 chainsaw buzz sound? And it's got that
filthy hardcore. They're so heavy.
Yeah, man. God, that's all we got to say for that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just that simple.
It's just filth. Go in, get out, clean up, and think about what you've done.
I'm almost at the end here. I just have some quick ones. Elder, if you've ever listened to them.
I don't think I've ever listened to Elder now.
Prog rock, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, the Innate Passage is their latest album.
Okay.
It's another solid release. Good atmosphere, meaty riffs, sweeping solos, great prog rock.
Sweeping solos.
It's actually, we already mentioned this artist, but Viljarta again. But in this instance, Buster Odholm made remixed, remastered versions of Mastodon and Thousands of Evils.
Oh, okay. I think I saw that as I was scrolling through. Yeah,
they came out 2022. He remade the bass and the drums, and apparently he's been remixing it since 2015.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was it kind of reminds me of when the Contortionist, I know we keep bringing them up, but when they remastered or remixed Exoplanet. Just same deal. It's just in both. It's just with these new versions. There's just so many little details I never picked up on before. I could understand the lyrics better. The songs flowed together so much more nicely. Yeah, I mean, even though it's a remix remaster, it felt like a sort of whole new experience, and it just kind of had me fall in love with these albums all over again. Yeah, I had a great time listening to them.
The Redux, right? How do you say redux or redo?
These are called they're called Forte. So it's like Mastodon Forte
Gotcha.
and Thousands of Evils Forte.
Gotcha.
I don't know what that means or whatever, but and all right, I got 3 more to bang out. All 3 of these I discovered recently thanks to the Mathcore Index podcast, which I've been listening to, and I really dig that podcast. It's kind of like our thing, but better. They're like way more descriptive.
Yeah, we're amateurs.
Yeah, they're like way more descriptive, and then they play like actually they don't play a sample. They pick a song and play like a whole thing from it. But so there was this band Zombie Shark who had an EP called Born from a Wish, classified as cyber grind, which I never knew was a thing. But
these new genres that come out is insane.
I never knew it was a thing, but I think I like it because it's pretty cool. It's I describe it as like dubstep from hell, or like hard style with heavy vocals. It's like EDM on like ketamine.
Well, if you're listening to EDM, you probably are on ketamine.
And then another cyber grind / breakcore project, Drumcore. It's a solo musician, Aaron Spector, and combining like metal and glitch, kind of like what Frontier's doing, but I would say more effectively.
Gotcha.
It just almost take like a kind of Apex Twin style of like really intricate, electronic music and glitches, and just get that into some metal.
Okay.
And then lastly, this is the most.
I realize I don't listen to as much. I have not broadened my horizon as much as you have. So I'm like, oh shit. Okay, dude.
Well, the funny thing is, I feel like the amount of metal and types of, I feel like I've listened to a lot, but like I want to broaden my horizons more and listen to things that aren't metal, but I just can't help but love it.
Yeah,
I just always come back to it.
I can attest to that. Yeah.
Also, I think I listen to a lot of metal, but then when I think about like, there's like thrash and sludge metal and like, I don't know, there's a bunch of other things.
There's so many subgenres of metal.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff where I'm like, no, I actually don't care about listening to that.
And it's weird like how metal is like something you can definitely just throw in a different flavor and it's completely different. But like, you can't add metal to blues, but you can add blues to metal.
Yeah.
You can't you can't add metal to jazz. Well, actually, you can add metal to jazz and it'll still be jazz.
Yeah.
Jazz is just that weird genre where it's just like anything goes.
Yeah.
It's that final boss where it goes through second phase.
Metal. Yeah. It's kind of like oil. It does sort of just like kind of take over if you try to like put it in something else. But
and if you just take off metal without the distortion, to take off the distortion off metal, it's just surf rock.
Yeah. I said that like I was glimpsing into like the fourth dimension.
You're like, yeah.
So this last one, this was the most recent one. This was like from like just this week, I think. A mathcore band called Joanna Ray with the album. I'm losing the ability to speak.
It's probably getting late.
Wow, it's 11:37.
Yeah.
With the album called Reality Fallacy. And they got some like Every Time I Die like Southern riffs, some Dillinger like break beats, solid mathcore, promising debut LP, good stuff.